his brother.
Correct.
So it just wasn't a good week for Coughlin all around. And look, he's a two-time champion. New York media is tough, so I don't think people are going to be asking for his job. But this is just a good old-fashioned New York anger, um, disgust. And you know it's even worse. The Jets have a better record than the Giants right now. It's
I know.
just I don't know. They need to regroup. And the NFC East to me is still a toss up because you never know what you're going to expect from the Cowboys. They look good now, but they could stink up the joint down the stretch. I still think that division is up in the air, even though two teams are 0-3 right now. But the Giants just that's a day that they will rather forget.
It's Eli Manning, 12 of 23 for 119 yards. Sacked 7 times for 45 yards lost. One interception. You know what his quarterback rating is for the game?
What was it, man?
49. Of 49.
It was
That's
just
terrible. That's disgusting. I was watching the game. For some godly unknown reason, I got up at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. I don't know why. And the game wasn't on TV, so I went to where I watch my football games, and I watched the Giant game, and I'm watching it, and I'm going, what am I watching? And I'm watching this, and I'm going, okay, they scored a touchdown, great, it's not that bad. God, no touchdown flag? Oh my God. And it just went downhill from there.
I'm sure the
Backwards and
Giants wish they
backwards.
still have Amar Bradshaw right now. I
Oh.
mean, Bradshaw looked pretty good out there in Indianapolis yesterday, and I mean, for the Giants,
I was
it's just
disgusted. Disgusted. I'm sure Gio was too. I haven't been looking in the chat room because I've been looking at the stats and stuff. But yeah, oh my God, it's just ridiculous. I stopped watching the game. Couldn't stand it anymore, dude. Could not stand it anymore. It was the worst start for the New York Giants since 1996.
I think that was the Paul Sales era, or maybe before him. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, usually they have the type of games that they have, but for them to be shut out, not getting even a point, you got Cruz, you got Knicks.
They look like the Jacksonville Jaguars could have beat them yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, that was...
Cleveland could have beat them yesterday. Anybody could have beat that team yesterday. They suck. And listen, I'm a Giant fan. I'm a big-time Giant fan. Everybody here knows it. They suck.
And they are 0-3. Carolina is now 1-2. But cheer up, Mr. Escal, because like we already pointed
cheer
out.
Up. Great, they're going to play Kansas City this weekend. Yeah, cheer up. Woo!
That's not what I wanted to go into, but another 0-3 team, as an RG 0-3. The Redskins fell short to the Detroit Lions yesterday, and RG3 can act like he's okay all he won't.
Right now, but Jerry Jones is looking like that's his division, and I don't want to listen to any of that crap at all.
Yeah, I mean...
I really don't.
I don't think, but Jerry Jones should not be gloating that much considering they missed the playoffs the last 3 years. So, I mean, be optimistic, but I wouldn't say gloating because that team can go one way or another. As for the Redskins, they had all these expectations after the season that they had. RG3 gets hurt. And he gets hurt on the postseason game against Seattle. Doesn't play a single game in the preseason, and he still doesn't look right. They had a touchdown that was ruled an incomplete pass, and the Lions, even without Reggie Bush, you had a backup running back that played well. Detroit are 2-1. Washington's 0-3. I mean, who should be more concerned? The Redskins, who did win the division last year, or the Giants?
Giants. And I'll
I'm
tell you,
gonna.
what? Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I would say the Redskins. They won the division last year. RG3 really doesn't look like himself, and it just doesn't look like a good sign. I mean, all this should be on Griffin and on Shanahan. Griffin acting like he's okay, he's all right, but he's not. They haven't really been using a spread option or whatever it is, and they just haven't been that effective offensively. And yeah, the
I
Giants.
blame that on the head coach for not playing him during the preseason.
Yeah, I definitely will say that.
Because what? This is week 3, right?
Yeah, this is
now
week
watch,
3.
He's starting to get into his groove a little bit now. Week 4,
Yeah.
watch what's going to happen with him.
Yeah,
I think it's the Giants because the Super Bowl is in Giant Stadium, even though it's not called that no more, MetLife Stadium. The Super Bowl's there, and Tom Coughlin probably gave him the old speech. Listen, the Super Bowl begins and ends right here on this field. And he's absolutely 100% right. I picked them to go 13-3. They can't lose any more games.
Oh yeah, that's right. They got to win the next 13 some games.
Next 13 games in a row, and then go off right into the sunset, right into the Super Bowl. Wackadoo.
But Detroit, with Megatron, they look good even without Reggie Bush. I guess the concern for Detroit offensively is, can they be healthy? Can Stafford be healthy? Even with Reggie Bush days at the New Orleans Saints, he's had injury issues, and Miami, but it looks like they headed towards the right direction. They 2-1. San Diego and Tennessee.
Stafford, hold on. Stafford had a better game than RG3.
Yeah, Stafford did.
How many times can you say that?
He can be a stat stuffer when he's healthy.
RG3 was sacked twice for 26 yards. That's big. You know that? He was sacked twice for 26 yards. That's big.
He just doesn't look like the guy from last season prior to the injury.
He's not used to running with that damn thing on his knee, I bet you, too.
Yeah, and people are going to be begging for Kirk Cousins now. So, I don't know. RG, I mean, it's the injury. He's not using it as an excuse. More power. But if he don't start playing good, people are going to be asking for Kirk Cousins.
That Tennessee-San Diego game that you were starting to go into?
Yeah.
I watched that game.
I want to speak about that go-ahead touchdown. If you saw it well closely, I think the Tennessee receiver should have been called for that pass interference.
Thank you.
No, and I did pick the Chargers. Maybe I'm saying that because I did pick the Chargers to win, but we saw that a Hunter dude.
You saw it though, right?
Yeah, I did saw it, and he did give the defender a push just to get that touchdown.
Yes, he did.
And, yeah, Chargers got robbed yesterday.
Yes, he did. He pushed off the defender to catch the ball, and the referee missed it, and it pisses me off that he missed it.
And I mean, but Phillip Rivers, they still had a chance to win. The Chargers did, and it looked like it was going to be, and it was at Tennessee, and we all know that Music City Miracle, they were trying to do their own version of it, but it just went downhill. It would have been funny as hell if after that bad call that the Chargers could redeem themselves.
Yeah, and you knew that they were going to do that, man. If you were watching that game, they tried the left corner first, and then they went to the right corner next. So you knew they were going to do it.
Yeah, and I think that was Rivers was kicked the ball as whoever was throwing the ball to him, he couldn't quite get to it, so he was like kicking the ball so the Tennessee player couldn't get to it.
Yeah, he got
the Chargers got robbed yesterday.
He got a couple penalties on him though yesterday. He needs to learn how to keep his attitude in check.
Rivers, he's definitely a emotional guy, no doubt about it, and I think other than that call, they still had a chance to win the game, and I guess they just couldn't pull through.
Referees blew it. Who was the head referee? Wasn't Ed Hockley either for that game either. So
I don't think Ed Hockley was
I watched
there.
that game. No, it wasn't. I watched that game.
Okay. I just mostly watch the Red Zone channel,
Correct.
so I just saw like bits of the game, if you will.
Cheater.
So the Titans are now 2-1. San Diego are now one
And
and
two.
two.
Yeah.
Let's get to this Green Bay and Cincinnati game, which was very interesting. The Bengals had an early 14-0 lead. The Packers respond by scoring 30 unanswered points. Cincinnati makes a comeback of their own, and the Bengals pull through in a high scoring game, 34-30. Uh, Rodgers just had a rough game yesterday. All I'm saying is do not sleep on that Cincinnati Bengals defense. They allowed 30 points to Aaron Rodgers, but they made the plays when they needed to, especially that Franklin dude. He fumbled the ball. Cincinnati recovered, and that was the dagger of that game.
Andy Dalton, man, check, he's the man. 20 of 28 for 234 yards. He was sacked 4 times for only a 20-yard loss. 2 TDs, 1 interception. Had a better quarterback rating than Aaron Rodgers. How about that?
And there was some confrontation between Rodgers and McCartney, but they kind of swept that under the rug, saying it's no big deal, or whatever. But Packers are now 1-2, and Cincinnati
It's 2-1, right?
that could very well win that division right now. Dalton and Green to me are the best young quarterback receiving duo right now, and this is their third season together. They just seem to keep getting better year after year. But I say don't sleep on that defense.
Hey, Cleveland's better than Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
pretty funny, huh?
it was just, yeah. Believe it or not, yes, Cleveland has a better record
The
than.
Cincinnati defense is just stepping it up, man.
Yeah, they did.
You know?
And Aaron Rodgers, he just had no answer. I mean, after that 30 unanswered point, they didn't score another point. Um, Cincinnati just pulled through, and Marvin Lewis, yes, he's still the head coach of that team, and you would think that maybe he wouldn't be the coach for long, but
He knows he's got no time left.
yeah, but hey, as long as you got Dalton and Green making the plays that they made, he's still going to have that job.
Yeah,
and that
is
defense
sad.
has played
That
good.
is sad, Ebo, being a Cincinnati Bengal fan yourself, that Cleveland is better than Pittsburgh. That is sad.
Yes.
How in the world of sports does Cleveland beat Minnesota? I don't know.
No Trent Richardson, no problem. And 31-27 was the final score. And that Hoyer dude, he did have 3 interceptions, but he touchdowns. And Willis McGahee, the guy who was opposed to replace Trent Richardson, was not much of a factor. But when you can get Adrian Peterson under 100 yards, yet he still had a touchdown one, you got to rely more on Christian Ponder. Now, he had 2 touchdown ones, but throwing the ball, not
terrible,
that much.
Man. He's terrible.
I ponder the thought.
I ponder the thought. Check you out. He's terrible, man.
Yeah, I mean, Leslie Frazier,
this
he's
football
still the
season is wacky, man.
Yeah,
this
Cleveland
is a pretty wacky football
1-2.
season.
You know, but this is what happens with Minnesota when you try to rely on one person who's not the quarterback. Adrian Peterson is the winning MVP, but there's only so much he can do. At some point, Christian Ponder got to make plays, and he got beat by a backup quarterback. A backup quarterback. I thought he was like the third string, and Jason Campbell was the backup. And yet, after Reading gets hurt, Hoyer is selected to start this game over Campbell. And he only had 1 career start prior to that game yesterday. And there was a combined 7 turnovers between both teams. And yet, I guess Minnesota made 1 too many than Cleveland did.
Well, that's not a lot. Giants did it 7 times by themselves.
Wow. It's just Cleveland got to win. And look, and for people that thought that they were tanking because of Trent Richardson, clearly
Well,
Cleveland